This is my 2001 Porsche Boxster S, and I love it to death. I've owned it for about 9 months, and of course, because it's an old German car, 20 million things go wrong with it all the time. That being said, most of the time, pretty easy fixes, whatever. It's better than you'd think to be able to work on a mid-engine sports car. However, the one big issue that I'm running into right now is the cooling system. Bought it in October. I drove it through all the winter months. I dailied it like an idiot, but I never had an issue with it going over 180 degrees operating temp at all. And it has a cold thermostat in it. That's what it's supposed to stay at. Now that it's, 90 degrees out, almost 100 degrees out, it likes to creep up in temperature a little bit. And, it's not like it gets over stock operating temperature at all. But for peace of mind, I'm going to try to do my best to do what I can to get the cooling system to work better without actually spending money on it. First thing I have planned, the wheel wells can be cut to get the radiators to flow straight through because the current stock radiator exit design goes straight down into the ground right about here. And that's about the worst radiator exit design I've ever seen. Porsche, I don't entirely know what they were doing with that, but we are going to try to fix that. That's going to be the first thing because that's the easiest thing to do is just cut a big old hole in the wheel liners and just either put a bit of mesh over it or try to modify this so it can actually vent outwards. That's the first thing. And then moving on from there, because I'm going to be adding in a ton more airflow into the wheel wells, I'm likely going to try to cut some fender vents right up here. Yeah, I know it's sacrilege and every single Porsche purist and old guy is going to hate me at Cars and Coffee. I couldn't care less. There's hood pins in the rear clamshell, so sue me. And then I'm going to try to scallop out the fenders because that's what the Spider RS does. That also helps with getting air evacuated out of the wheel well. I've never done metal work or body work, so this will be interesting. But I can cut plastic really well, so we're gonna start with the easy thing and cut into the wheel liner. So yeah, I guess the first thing to do is tear the entire front of the car off. Yeah, I guess that's gonna be it. Also, full disclaimer with the whole videoing thing, I have zero clue what I'm doing. I usually do photos. I'm set up on my photography camera, and this is supposed to do decent video stuff. So we'll see how it goes. If the audio quality is terrible, I'm sorry. If the, oh, there's a fly, great. But yeah, I don't know. Oh, and last thing, ignore how disgusting the wheels are because there's gonna be a lot of close-up shots around here. I know they're disgusting. My old brakes were absolutely horrid with brake dust. And also I know that everything's super dirty. I live on a dirt road, so what can you do? I drive it every single day. I'm not gonna wash it every single day. It's got almost 130,000 miles and is beat to hell mostly because of me. So yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. If you want me to be more entertaining and you're falling asleep right now, just let me know. Yeah, alrighty, let's get to it. Let's start working. Alright, moved you to the Insta360 now. Oh god, that's horrendous. First thing we're doing is taking off the front bumper. You gotta take these little side markers out, which is extremely annoying. And then you got a couple pins and clips and bolts up here, that on this side, and some on the bottom. And yeah, I will do a little bit of a fill-in after I get that off, and I can show you more of the radiator stuff. Bumper's off. Pretty simple job overall. The most annoying thing is the stupid bolts holding on and over here, but easy enough. Next thing is headlights. Headlights out. It is looking better, looking closer to what I want, but this is going to be a fun thing to try to get off, especially on this side because, of course, because it's mid-engined. Fuel filler's up here, so we will see how that's going to want to work out. Alright, I got distracted from this. Kind of had a thought. I popped out these grills that go on the bumpers that are in the normal radiator ducts. This middle one doesn't even have anything that really blocks any bugs or anything, which is kind of horrible. And this, personally, I think is just kind of really bad design of barely any actual protection. So I popped them out and I ordered some mesh off of Amazon. I needed it anyway to do the fender vents, or not fender vents, the wheel liner vents. So I just ordered some extra, and I'm going to mesh this off so there's a lot finer of protection than what this can do. One of the biggest problems with these cars is that so many leaves and bugs and actually rocks get stuck up in the radiators because this is just a big old catch point right up in here. So the mesh should hopefully help and move that along. The next move, unfortunately, it's harder than I thought to get these wheel liners out. It's gonna have to be actually jacking the front of the car up, taking the wheels off, popping out a ton of little plastic rivets that are of course gonna break. So I'm gonna have to pop that out. And then I can start possibly trying to take the fenders off, but I might save that for when I have more time and can leave this car down for longer. Because right now, the garage is looking pretty torn up because of this. But yeah, we'll see. Good morning. You joining me from the tripod today. Wheels are coming off, then wheel liners, and then maybe if I feel like it, fenders today. If not, that'll be pushed to tomorrow. Just depends on how much time I end up having, but I think it all kind of comes off pretty quick as soon as you actually get to it. I was just being really lazy last night and just didn't want to get to it. So yeah, we'll start working on this and see where I get. All right, it's looking like a whole bunch of those stupid little plastic bolts, rivets. Hopefully this thing doesn't completely mangle them. I've used it before and it usually does not work well, but it's the only thing I have that can somewhat keep them intact. Not looking forward to this. You're currently watching a 20-year-old man being outsmarted by stupid little plastic clips. So I think we're just gonna snap them off and hope that I can zip tie them together. Yeah, also I have a cool discovery, but I have to switch to the small cam. Back on the small cam. So this is gonna be something for extreme aero nerds and of the like, but if you look in here, there's this little channel which comes from under the car and actually feeds into the brake cooling duct. Pretty cool to see that they actually did think about some aero stuff, but not, the radiators that are right behind here and the fact that the cooling on them is horrible. Sometimes Germans are so weird. I'm going scorched earth with these things. I am just fed up and don't want to keep wasting time on them. I think from where I'm going to be cutting the fender liners, I'll actually be able to just run zip ties through these holes, or they just won't be there anymore. And there's enough other spots, like I haven't even been running this clip here and this one up here. So these actually I can zip tie and that should hold them just fine for everything. And there's a couple little dinky plastic nuts that I should be able to use. But yeah, I'm tired and fed up of it and want to just try to actually get to the work that I want to work on. So worst comes to worst, I just drill a ton of tiny little holes everywhere and zip tie it together and call it good. Then it'll make it easier to remove later on, and I'll probably thank myself for it. Or I'll be kicking myself in the ass later on if this ends up being the worst thing I've ever done. But now I have it, recorded, and I can call myself an idiot later on, forever actually, because this is permanent now. Well, I got the first one out actually pretty successfully, and other than an extremely bruised knuckle now, this actually might be salvageable. So we'll see if I can do the same with the rest. It'd be awesome to be able to reuse these just for sake of ease. Also thinking about it more now, I don't want to go through this pain again, so I'll probably still stick with the zip ties. But we'll see. Second one I had to snip off because it was pulling the entire radiator assembly just from this stupid little bit of plastic. We're just going to keep snapping them off and hope for the best. Well, I got a clean pull on some of them, others not so much. I think I'm at this point good to pull it out. It actually wraps all the way around down here with, guess what, another freaking plastic clip. So that one actually pulled out clean, surprisingly. Should be good to pull this out now. Let's see. Perfect. That wasn't a painful process at all. Definitely gonna have to wash that out. It is absolutely disgusting. Back to the minicam. Also, if you can't figure out why audio keeps on getting switched up and sounds weird, it's probably because I'm switching between these, but this is out. So this is the stock exit for the radiator. Like I said, it goes straight down. This is all just completely unused space, so I should be able to do something there. There's the two clip points right here, but I think right between it, or even part of these clips, I should be able to do a big old cut right here. And then on this side, looks like there's some plastic stuff in the way, but doesn't look like it's necessarily super structural. Might be for the radiator bracket, but there's this part behind the actual bracket that I might be able to take out. We'll mess around with it and see. Probably we'll try around with this first before I cut anything. And then in terms of possible fender vents, looks like there are definitely some wires and stuff in the way. Where the high pressure builds up in the wheel well is directly above the center line, which will be right about here. Which there are some things in the way. I think there are some ways that I should be able to move things around. They are some sort of hard lines, which will be interesting. This will probably be a project for another time, admittedly. I just don't think I necessarily have the time to do it right now. But it'll at least be good to start working out what I want to do for it. And the good news is the whole fuel filler neck situation is over here. And hopefully you can see this. I'm currently trying to do this somewhat blind, so I apologize if the camera works bad. But right where I would need to be cutting, there's just these couple lines. Oh, the last thing is if I want to scallop the fender. Looks like there should be room to do it. This is somewhat in the way, but I also don't need to do a super aggressive one, I don't think. That's also not something I necessarily have to do. I think it would be a good extra little bit of aerodynamic support. The fender vent itself would be the biggest one, so yeah, we'll see where I can get with this, but next step is wash out the wheel liner, see what I can do with that, and then try to start working on figuring out how to get this plastic piece out of the way. Upon further inspection, this piece right here is the biggest contender for being able to cut up. This is metal and it's part of the support of the radiator and everything, so I can't really touch this. This piece also wraps all the way around and goes around here and a bit under, and that all is part of the radiator shrouding. Now that is what directs it straight downwards. So what I think I might be able to do, I don't think I can actually pull it out of here, but I might be able to do some kind of somewhat clever slash just hoping for the best cutting around here. Get like a cut right down here and somewhere up here, and be able to just hollow this area out. Obviously, yes, there will be this little cross member in the way, but this should still provide a lot more airflow than anything else has in the past. And then what I'll be able to do is block off the bottom part, so then air can only get directed out and into here, and then the wheel well can just be cut as an opening. I'm thinking that's the way to go with this. Not entirely sure yet. I'm gonna keep doing a little bit more looking around on this and maybe some research, because I'm kind of getting to that point. But yeah, we'll see. Gonna keep taking a look into this and see where I can get. It's a lot later at night now because I had some other stuff going on throughout the day, so I haven't made much more progress. I think the last video clip I had filmed was I've taken the passenger side wheel liner out. So at this point, I think all I'm gonna do tonight is just get the driver's side out, so I'm ready to go when the mesh comes tomorrow since it got delayed. And then I'll start planning on the cuts I'm doing tomorrow morning since I have a good chunk of time, and we'll see how it goes from there. So let's get to it. It's been, I want to say 5 minutes since I filmed that last bit. This side took me all of, I want to say 30, maybe 35 minutes to take out because of these stupid little plastic clips. This side had 3 of them, and 4 of them, and every single one of them came out with one pull, and they didn't break. I'm actually kind of speechless. So that was great. I guess I guess we're way ahead of schedule. So that's cool. Gonna try to take a look inside of the fender now and see where I'll be able to cut things and what the viability for fender vents are. Just to prove I'm not lying, these are what remains of most of the right side little plastic rivets, whatever you want to call them. It's kind of dark out, so it might be hard to see. But there should be like, I think 4 in there that are actual completed pieces, minus these little plastic nuts. And then if you come over to this side, watch it for the wheel, obviously. Every single one of them came out in perfect condition. No issues whatsoever, didn't snap, didn't break, didn't even bend. I still don't even know what to think of that. But anyway, let me get some light in here and then I'll start showing you the inside of the fender. So it seems like this side is going to be the same deal of the plastic radiator shroud. And then up in here, it looks like there's something plastic up here. So I'll have to take this protective piece off and try to take a look at that. Might as well try that tonight, see what's up there. I'm really worried it's the windshield washer fluid reservoir. And if that's the case, I'm either gonna have to run with no windshield washer fluid at all, or try to make a way smaller bottle or cut off some lines. We'll see, but I guess I'll tear into this now because I'm way farther ahead than where I thought I was gonna be, so might as well get to it. All right, well, you joined me after a quick little bit of research, and that entire black thing is the windshield washer fluid reservoir. Apparently this was offered on cars, actually not even offered, required on cars with the xenon headlights back in the 2000s because they thought they needed some form of like headlight washer thing. I don't know, some stupid regulation or another. But because it has both windshield washers and headlight washers, the tank is ridiculously large. So what I'm trying to look and see to do, this is the top of the windshield washer right here. It looks like there's lines that come off of it, which are, you know, of course, hard lines and yada yada yada, go all the way over to this pump. And that's all for the top. Then if you come down here, you can't really see where the lines come into it under the bottom, except for this. You can't do that with the light. This one that I'm shining the light at right here, and coming over here, you can't really see anything on this side, so I'm a bit confused on what's necessarily it's being held by. So I'm gonna try to start taking it off and see what I can do, but I'm definitely, at this point, 100% gonna have to choose whether or not I just run no windshield washer fluid at all, or try to salvage it in some way by just like cutting it off and plastic welding a little bit back on, which wouldn't be too hard to do. I'd love to try to keep it because it'd be great to have, but if I have to sacrifice it for better aero performance, I think I can live with that. So yeah, we'll see. That is kind of a horrible discovery, and you know, now it's of course putting a damper on the night, but we'll try to keep working through it. All right, good news, bad news. Good news is the washer reservoir is held on by 3 things. 2 of them bolts, which I have out and are right here in my hand, which is awesome, right? Super cool. The bad news is the 3rd thing is this little rubber bushing. I think, I can't tell. All I can tell from the parts diagram is that it's this something in the back, and I really should prepare better for this. It's behind here and up in the fender. So I don't feel like dealing with that right now, because that pretty much means I have to take the fender off, and I really don't want to do that. Not tonight, probably not at all for this project, because it's not necessarily necessary for just doing the cooling stuff that I'm looking at. So that'll be for another time when I end up actually trying to get the fenders cut. Good news is the right side is pretty simple. It seems like it'll just be either moving some hard lines around or just kind of dealing with them in the way and just making sure I mesh the hell out of it so it doesn't end up cracking or damaging any of them. And this side will be either full race car, no windshield washer fluid at all, which I can live with, or trying to find some workaround where I can cut part of it, because it looks like all the pickups are at the very bottom of the tank down here. So all of this stuff up top seems to be somewhat useless, so I might just be able to cut part of it out. But I just don't want to deal with it. It's hot, I'm tired. So I'm just gonna bolt these things back up and then probably at this point just pick up tomorrow when I get the mesh and start actually thinking about cutting things and trying to figure out where I want to try. I can't even speak straight anymore. This is horrible. I'm gonna start cutting earlier tomorrow morning. Then when the mesh gets here, I'll start mocking that up on the front bumper. At this point, probably done with updates for the night, unless I run into something else, which I'm sure I will, because there's always something else going wrong. But yeah, if not, you'll probably see me when it's light out back there.